You hurt your kid? Will make the rest of your life a living nightmare. Not my story, but a very close friend of mine who told me this. He was intimately abused by his stepfather ever since he was 6, and was violated around his 8th year. His biological father died of a work-related accident and his mother married this stepfather that she knew from her hometown a few years after. That fatherly figure soon turned out to be an abusive monster that was oh so eager to put his hands on anything that moves. His mother didn't know of the intimate abuse that he was going through because the son was threatened by unalivement of his mother and him if he says anything. He was in an ever worse situation after getting bullied and mistreated. He really wanted to unalive himself. He was debating on just jumping in front of a semi and ended all multiple times, but his mother was the only reason he didn't want to do it, and kept pushing on through it all. He started slowly making a few friends that helped him cope a little. On his 10th he was violently touched and was left limping after his father went all out on him. He was forced to go to school the day after and was limping from the pain, unable to sit at all, unable to move, but he endured it and shrugged it off as an accident so that no one finds out what happens. He saw what the man can do. He doesn't want his mother hurt or worse because he told on this monster. Even the bullies stopped making fun of him after seeing that he didn't care anymore about what they did to him. A few older senior students who were a mix of 16 and 18-year-old caught wind of his history and pulled him aside one day to ask what happened. They all sat down and talked. Although they knew what was happening, they merely asked to confirm what's going on. My friend, who told them to not spread it as it means life and death to him and especially his mother, let out all the information out of pure fear from about 5 or 6 behemoths towering around him. And years of mistreatment killing his self-esteem. The seniors were not amused. Not one bit. They were all hell-bent on making this man regret his life choices, and make him regret it they did. They stalked him, cornered him and afterwards went completely berserk on him, sodomized him with a multitude of tools, carved child toucher on his back, beat the bejesus out of his dingling to the point where he was quite literally peeing blood, and continued going at him. Afterwards, just to really nail the point in, they didn't want him to die, they wanted him to live and suffer from it. He was rushed to the hospital with both his arms broken on multiple points, eye socket collapsed and eye heavily damaged with no chance of repair, both his balls were ruptured and are damaged beyond salvation, his back end was ripped to the size of a 22 cm ball, and he lost about 70% of his teeth. There was more, but it will take this whole post just to list all the damage dealt. They caught him at the brink of death from all the bleeding and managed to keep him alive somehow. The next day they told his mom of what happened, and what his stepdad did to him. She wasn't just filing for divorce. She took everything he ever owned, all the money he made, and afterwards had him put behind bars. With a little birdie that told every inmate inside of what he did. Last my friend heard of him was that he was being used quite literally as the prison's designated soap dropper while in the pen. He didn't die, but he was left with a gape that would make even some adult stars jealous, roaming the streets, shunned by everyone, and they still regularly tell people of who he is and what he did to publicly shame him for what he did, losing him any job possible and barred from many establishments, and was regularly stoned, hissed at and yelled at to go away like a stray dog. There was no mercy for him.
Reddit Stories, JJ.